And as we have a look at this interesting topic that we've been covering over a number of months, and that is foreign workers to pick our crops, the federal government has made all sorts of excuses about this, and now under Senate estimates, some questions have been risen about what the Australian government has been doing to ensure that we get the labour that we need to pick our crops. The shortages have not been something that hasn't been known about. There's farming groups and the farmers themselves and right across states, agricultural ministers have all jumped on the bandwagon and said that with the current circumstances, we just simply can't get the foreign workers to pick our crops or to shear our sheep or to do the work that is necessary for our farms to get their crops in and be more productive. Well, under Senate estimates questioning, Victoria's Labor Senator Raph Ciccone and Home Affairs boss Michael Bazula had a conversation. And the question was put about whether or not we should have a visa system that would allow an amnesty for foreign workers. That is, people that could overstay their visa, in effect. And according to Michael Bazula, who is the Home Affairs boss, he said that it would not be our advice to change direction because of the perverse incentive to get to Australia, overstay your visa, and then go to ground. So Mr Bazula also said that the government never committed to a dedicated agriculture visa, despite Prime Minister Scott Morrison backing the idea back in 2018. Now, Michaela Cash, who's a cabinet minister for the government, would not budge on changing the status of the illegal migrant workers and giving them the opportunity effectively to have an amnesty where they could stay longer and basically pick our crops. So instead of actually saying to these people, look, stay longer, we'll give you an amnesty, we'll get these crops off and then we'll deal with the problem, Michaela Cash says that would be weakening and allowing people to breach what is a very strong visa system. We don't want to budge on this visa system. But then the question was put as to why we don't have a dedicated agriculture visa so that we can actually circumvent these problems to start with. And it is interesting because it suddenly appears that Michael McCormack, who is the Nationals leader, and his Agriculture Minister, David Littleproud, are both supporting this particular visa, an ag visa. And Mr McCormack says, I'm a believer in an ag visa, and I know the PM wants to move towards it. We'll get it done. The ag visa is important. Well, if that is the case, Mr McCormack, and Prime Minister Morrison, you are in a coalition, and we have all this fruit that is rotting on the tree, and we still haven't been able to get these foreign workers an amnesty, and we haven't been able to get an ag visa, and we've been talking about this for 12 months, and time's running out for the government. Surely, under questioning, they go one way or the other. You allow people who have a visa to stay longer to pick the fruit, or you get an ag visa. If they can't do either, then how on earth are we picking the crop? Mr McCormack, I think, needs to have a bit more longer conversation with his leader, Mr Morrison. Clearly they're not on the same page. Well, if they are, then Mr Morrison and Michaela Cash are not on the same page. Or are we getting through to these politicians that the farming sector actually has produce, wool that can be shorn by New Zealand shearers? Or, you know where I'm going with all this. Anyway, it seems to me that the government is sitting on its hands. Maybe it's got way too much of the 24-hour news cycle, and we're not actually dealing with the day-to-day management issues of running the country. And I think that Mr Morrison and his government are being drawn into it and just simply are not actually moving into what they should be, and that is policy that actually gets farming happening in this country.